You guys, I don't know about you, but you probably don't do this. But sometimes when I'm watching TV at night and I just watch the series Suits, which is 9 seasons, so I've been heavy duty watching that. And sometimes when I am doing something, watching a movie or a series, I play with makeup. More often than not, I use one of my tools. I might do my red light or I might do facial massage with my cleansers. I'm kind of cleaning my face at the same time. But yesterday, I had gone onto Instagram and I saw something that Natasha Denona did with lip overlining. I thought, well, I'm going to try that. So I got my stuff and I did it while I was watching TV in the living room. And then I got this idea, why don't I do eyes just with pencils? And I had a lovely time doing this, goofing off while I'm watching this show. And I liked the look so much that I wanted to share it with you. What I feel I ended up getting was a smoky eye that wasn't too smoky. A perfect date night kind of look or an evening party kind of a look, but it's not too much. Now when you're hooded, oftentimes when you get a smoky eye, you have to bring up really high, and it's a little too much, and sometimes it's tragic. And I just was really pleased with what I got, so I'm going to do my very best to create the full look right now. So I grabbed some of my pencils and I'm going to get my big mirror because this takes a lot of time. This isn't an easy, fast, quick look. It takes a long time because I'm doing very precise work and I'm doing some blending. If you want to join me, let me just go over a couple of my tools. I have a bunch of liners here, of course. I have 3 really small brushes. When you're hooded, you need the small brushes. These are all pinched and flat, but they're all a little bit different. This one and this one are similar, but this is a little longer and this is a little wider. And then this one, it's from BK Beauty, and it looks like you can do like eyebrow hairs with this if you wanted to. These are the tools that I used yesterday, and I will have them linked below. Some brush companies put things at the tip so that they disappear over time, and I believe both of these are Hakuhodo. You can see the ferrules are exactly the same with the triple right here and the BK Beauty. I've already done my foundation and my concealer. I'm wearing the Clé de Peau Radiant Cream. I got this in B, where I was using O, B20, which might be a teeny bit too dark for me, but I think it's okay. And my Tom Ford concealer, which I'm deeply, deeply in love with. And I'm going to bring my mirror in here and scooch up a little bit, and we're going to get into it. Now, the clouds are in and out, so now you see this darkness on my face, but I think we're going to be okay. And in post-production, I will kind of pull you in a little bit. I'm using, I think this is a 10X, which is way more than I need. I think last night, my mirror that I use in the living room is 5X. I did my skincare, my sunscreen, and I just kind of patted any kind of oils that I might have on my eyes because we are using pencils and we don't want them to smear, we want them to set. So that's really important. I even put a teeny bit of powder on, but you don't want too much powder because you do want the pencils to adhere. I'm going to show you all my blending because it takes a long time. This is not a quick look, but I'll do it at 2X or maybe even 4X so you can see how long it's taking me to blend or to accomplish certain looks. But I'll be talking as well, naturally, and guiding you through. And the first thing I'm going to go in with is my Charlotte Tilbury pencil. This is the Rock and Coal liner in, it used to be called Verushka, and now it's called Smoky Gray. And I'm just going to do a little lining. And the reason I need to use this mirror is I'm going to be holding everything taut because when you're older, sometimes you have to do that. And I'm just going very, very close to the lash line. Just to the end of the eye. And now I'm opening my eye to see what that might look like. Make it a little bit thicker. And thinner, thinner, thinner where my lashes start. So my lashes start right about here I'm not going to go beyond that. Now, even though I'm deeply hooded, and the only way for me to do a wing, I'll put my wing video right here, is to do something that's kind of big. So when you're looking at somebody, it looks great, but if you're looking down, like you're at dinner and you're eating, it might look a little crazy. I'm just going to do a little bit of wing that when my eye is open, you're not going to see it. But when my eyes are closed or looking down, you'll see a nice little wing. Well, you won't, but the person you're eating with will. Now I'm going to pull from the inside here. Yeah, this is so interesting because this mirror is much more magnetized than the one I used last night. Because my lid, my hood, goes below the lower lash line, I don't want to take this all the way to the end of the eye. There is a little bit of space right here because it's just going to pull everything down. Now I'm going in with one of my Hakahodos, and I'm just going to blend it. The brush is the same way as the line. I'm not making it thicker. I'm just going to blend it in. This liner is very malleable initially, but once it sets, it is set. So there's just a little bit of a triangle here, but it doesn't start at the very, very end. And when my eyes are open, you can't really see it, but when my eyes are looking down, you can. And it's also going to be a guideline for what I'm doing next. Stilo Ombre et Couture in Maroon from Chanel. It's a little chubby crayon here. And again, going to pull taut. You can pull from either direction. I think I'm going to do it from the inner corner. And I'm just going to lay this over, meaning above that liner initially. I can't remember last night if I did it this way or if I applied it with my brush. Now I'm going in with BK Beauty and spend some time with this. And I'm not going to overlap these, the liner and the shadow. And now I'm shearing it out. Now that I have it evenly coated on the lid, I'm shearing it out as I'm moving up. I'm doing a bit of a round shape. I'm going to check in this other mirror to see what's going on. So when the eye is open, you see just a hint of that maroon color. I think I'm going to go a little bit higher, but this time I am going to pick it up with the pencil. This might be so much faster than it was last night because now I know what I'm doing. I was just kind of playing last night. And just gonna add some more and back and forth. It's just becoming a sheer wash of color. And when I get to the edge, I just want to fade it out. I tweezed my eyebrows last night, you guys, like the first time in forevers. And I'm going to bring some right up here. Just going to take my finger and tap that. I'm taking this Victoria Beckham in Sea Gray or Sea Glass. Looks like this. Now this has, I think, a little bit of black in it. There's not an opaqueness to this, and I think that the undertone is quite dark. So you want to be careful of how close you get to your inner corner with this particular color. And pulling this, so I'm not getting in here at the inner corner because it's just too dark. And when you're working with pencils like this, always make sure that your fingers are clean before you do this pulling action. And just a nice fade between these two colors. And at the same time, I'm kind of burnishing it in by doing slight taps. I'm going back in with the gray and I'm doing some tight lining. I like using gray because it's not as harsh as black. And I'm trying to kind of get it in between the lashes at the same time. And where I finish won't be at the very end of the eye where these two lids meet, but at the very end of where the liner starts. And I just want to let that set up for a second before I go in with my next liner. So I thought the camera was on when I came back, and I did the Victoria Beckham again right in the lower waterline. Tight line, waterline, and I'm so confused. Now I'm going to clean one of those brushes because I'm going to go in with something else that's quite a bit lighter. But I could easily, use a different brush, as could you. I'm just going to do a little corner highlight that will brighten up the area where the sea glass, which is based in a black, I think will be not effective on the inner tear duct. Boy Tears from Hindosh. I'm just going to put some on my hand and pick it up. And going for the inner tear duct. This is so bright and pretty. You don't have to do this. You could just put something kind of cream color, but because this color is so dark, for most people, you'll want to counteract that with a little bit of lightness. You could even do it with concealer if you want it. Eyebrows. I mean, I have the mirror out. I have been loving this Legendary brow because I have all these new hairs coming in from the serum that I've been using. I've been using it for months, you guys. It's not something where you do 3 months and you're done. At 3 months, you'll start to see the hairs come in, but you have to keep on going. And I see more and more. So I have a lot of blondes that I definitely want to get this color on. But I have these little teeny hairs that I want to get some color on too. And what I like to do is go backwards. It has a better chance of catching the hair than getting on the skin. Not that it doesn't sometimes get on the skin. I mean, almost always actually. But I like this effect. So I'm going to start there and just look for those hairs and kind of go backwards into them. See how that just grabs onto the little hairs when I do it that way? I think I do have some on my skin though. And now I'll just brush it, the clumps through. And hit these blonde hairs. They could be gray. It makes sense because I have this gray patch up here. Now this eyebrow seems a little bit more arched. I like to just put a little bit at the top of this arch. I have hairs here, but they're really light, and that kind of helps to even everything up. And then I go in with a pencil. I think this is kind of dry now. And just kind of help it out where there aren't hairs. Putting a little bit of shadow, really. I'm not doing hairs. Now, in my experience doing brows this close up, always a mistake. You have to see the forest from the trees. Yeah, it's a little crazy, but that's okay. But if it's not okay with you, a way to soften everything up is to go through with your spoolie. Eyebrows done. And for mascara, I want something kind of full and dramatic. I don't like falsies. I think they look false. So one of my favorites is the Ilia, the fullest lash, I think it's called, or the fullest mascara. The mascara from Westman Atelier looks very similar when it is applied. It gives you that really full look. This is an hourglass shape, and I'm trying to be really careful when I'm doing mascara because I am the person who gets mascara all over the place. Look at that, just one stroke. Look at that. Amazing. I'm going to turn off the camera, do the other side, take away this mirror so you can really see what's going on. Well, let's see how different it is when the light comes in. All right, back in a flash. All right, you guys, I changed the light a little bit because it's so cloudy, but here are the eyes. The lashes on this side are longer than on this side. Long time thing, and I can't really make them look it even. But I think the eyes are perfectly lovely for an evening out. It's kind of smoky, you know what I mean? But it's, I don't know, I just think last night when I did it, I thought this is just ideal because you're not bringing too much color up too high. It's like an adult, more sophisticated kind of smoky eye, I think. More appropriate for women who are hooded or for women who are older. But it works on any age, I think. So now let's get on to what I saw Natasha Denona do. I didn't have the sound on. I couldn't read the captions, the notes she had in them because they were so small. Thank you very much. But it looked like she had foundation on the lips, which kind of blurred out everything. I have a very prominent vermilion. And a vermilion is a piece of skin at the end. It's a border. It's called the vermilion border. It's at the end of your lip, the outside of your lip. If it's really pronounced, it's impossible to line on it. I can't get a good line on the vermilion. And if you go outside the vermilion, you can look really, really clowny. But last night I tried this and it worked pretty well. So I am going in with my Clé de Peau concealer, which I don't like under the eyes. So, you know, you kind of have to use things, right? I should have returned it. And I'm going to put it all over my lips. Light. See how I'm just grabbing where the vermilion is? Now the thing about doing it with concealer, especially concealer this heavy, is you really have to make sure that you have a good blend. So, blending out and up, especially if you have lines under your lips, you just don't want that much product. And now I'm going to calm down. Can you see that vermilion border right there? It's really, really prominent. Same thing here. The concealer all the way up here. You could use definitely a lighter concealer, but I like the fact that this one is dry. And then if you want to. Okay, now we're going to have some fun. I'm going to put on a little bit of balm, which will do two things. One, it will take off some of that concealer, because I don't want concealer all over the lips. And two, help moisturize me. We'll see if this works. There's two things that I noticed that she did, and I'm going to show you both of them. You know, you might already follow her and you've already seen this. So really, I would say I'm doing something inspired by what I've seen her do to see if it will work on someone who's not 19. Let's see. This is her liner in Calla. And I'm going fully above my vermilion. Now, she didn't talk about this, but sometimes filling out the bow, that dip in the bow, is actually, you know, makes your lips a little bit fuller, and you don't have to work so hard to make sure that your bow is even. I'm going to do that because really there's no light in this room right now, and I really can't see what I'm doing. Yeah, this might not be a good day to do this because it's so dark in this room. I'm just going to contour. And do my best, and I think I'll do the lip thing in another video. It's just super, super dark in here, but I'm just going to go real quickly. Then I take this from House Labs to get a little bit of pink, so I'm kind of contoured. A little bit of pinkiness, and then a little bit of gloss. So this is one way to go, but I'm going to show you something else. Now I'm going to go in with a pink liner and go over this brown. And I think I'm just going to leave it at that. Really hard because there's no light, and I have a feeling I've messed it up a little bit, but it's a way of overlining. I think I might want to do a little bit more pink here, or take off some of that gloss. This is the new liquid lip. It's a moussey matte from Clé de Peau in Chocolate Cosmos. And that is it. I can still see my vermilion, you know, it's just, maybe you can't, but when I pick up this mirror, I just see that it's very obvious that I've overlined because my vermilion is so, on the upper anyway, is so darn prominent. But this, you guys, is the look. For blush, I did just a touch of the Dior Rose Dentelle. I can't find it, but that was a limited edition from last spring, unfortunately. An ideal soft pink color for me. I love it so much, but I can't compare it to anything else. But it's not, because it's an evening look, it's not about the blush. I just wanted a little something. I'm telling you, in dim light, the light that I was doing this to last night, this would be so pretty at night. Eating out at a restaurant, there's candlelight, super, super pretty, feminine, not quite romantic, but it's not sex pot either. You know, it kind of falls in between, and I just wanted to share it with you. I just wish that I was able to share it with you under better lighting conditions. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope it was fun. I hope it was maybe helpful, and I hope you most definitely come back again. Until we meet again, be safe and smart, and I'm wishing you good health.